This is part one of a two-part discussion I'm doing. In this one, I'll be talking about the movie series The Stepford Wives. The first one came out in the 1970s when feminism had recently become a prominent thing in the Western culture. Women were encouraged to boycott traditional gender roles. As an MRA, feminists assume that I'm a traditionalist who expects women to know their place and get back in the kitchen. That couldn't be further from the truth. I'm very progressive and would rather be in the kitchen. After all, the world's best chefs are male, and I think I'm pretty good myself. Perhaps if I had a wife, she could mow the lawn, or instead do DIY stuff. Do you think today's modern woman would agree to that? No. She would refuse and probably would think less of me as a man. It's the same with house husbands. Men are shamed for not working or looking after the children while the wife has a job. Yes, some men do shame other men, but most of the time, it's women who reject men like that. They say they don't find them attractive. However, if a man works and then comes back home and does the dishes and housework, that's the most attractive thing ever for a woman, apparently. Am I the only one who sees this? A woman is just happy that she doesn't have to do any of the work. It's not about gender roles. She just manipulates men into thinking that doing more work makes them sexy. These are the same women who consider themselves feminist and progressive. So even though I'm against gender roles, I don't consider myself a part of the feminist movement. I respect traditionalism because at least they were kind of equal. The men went out to work and the women took care of things at home. Feminism is just blaming men for the way they treat women. But back in the 1950s, women weren't prisoners. They liked not having to work or worry about earning money or being drafted in the war. You see that as oppression, but if anything, it was the men who were slaves to women. That being said, The Stepford Wives is a film which misguidedly attempts to demonize men and suggest women as slaves. It's a film where a man and his wife move into a new town. The town is very much like a 1950s stereotypical kind of town with white picket fences. Everyone is polite. The man gets invited to a men's club where all the men tell him they've replaced their wives with robots who look exactly like their wives. The husband chooses also to have his wife replaced with a robot because she has an attitude. And it becomes a horror movie where the wife has to survive. Now this sounds a lot like MGTOW, Men Go Their Own Way. A group I'd say I'm now a part of. Another prediction is, this movie got right, is the female sex robots. We already have fleshlights, and we already have female sex robots slowly coming onto the market. I think they need to become more realistic before they get mainstream appeal, but it's happening. The need for women is slowly going. The one thing I take issue with is killing the human wives to replace them. Men wouldn't do that. We could just as easily divorce them or never marry them to begin with. Men aren't capable of evil acts like that. Everything we do to make our lives better. Stealing, raping, shooting, it's all for self-gain. Women are the only ones that can just be evil for the sake of being evil. In my next video, I'll be providing an example of this. Something women are known to do that men would never even think to do. One thing that may happen eventually, and it will take a few decades, maybe hundreds of years, is gender segregation. All sex robots so far have been male. One, because almost all inventors are male, and two, the only gender desperate enough for an artificial alternative is men. But eventually, when robots become more commonly accepted, a man will see a gap in the market and release a line of male robots for gay men and women. But before that, women will be very judgmental of the robots and say things like, well, robots don't have personality, and, well, they can't really love you like a woman can. Well, let me tell you something, man. Women don't really love you either. I don't believe in love. Let's say you're in love with a woman and she's never cheated on you. She's turned down so many guys since she's been with you. Let's say her favorite band is One Direction, or whatever people listen to these days. She has all their posters on her wall. She meets one of them, like one of the band members or whatever, and he wants to hook up with her and he wants to make her his girlfriend. You think she'll pass that up? No chance. It's the same with men. We only love people until something better comes along. And there'll always be something better. Robots are the solution. If this video is still on YouTube in 100 years, people will be able to look back on this and see that I'm right. So why are women threatened by this idea? If a woman didn't have men and only relied on male sex robots, well, they would have to be the sole earners of their household. Whereas the Stepford Wives tries to symbolize the true nature of man. In this next video, I'll talk about another movie which symbolizes the true nature of women. And you'll find the link to this in the description below. Thanks for watching.